Hi everyone, good evening. So yeah, welcome everyone first of all to the session, and thanks for joining as well. So in today's topic or today's session, we'll be looking into how you can create basically color palettes and what is the process of selecting colors, some best practices of how you can basically come up with your color palettes, tools and all. Okay, so people who are joining the session for this first time and who doesn't know me, so myself Dulal, and I have now almost over 8+ years of experience working as a UX designer with one of the largest shipping organization. And prior to that, I have also worked with some of the awesome brands like Accenture, Mastercard, and Adra. Till now, I have also mentored more than over 1,000, more than over 100 students and through 100 plus live sessions and mentorship programs to help kickstart their career in design. And I'm also like in a mission to help 100,000 people who are starting their career as a designer or who would like to upskill themselves into design. So that's basically me, and also on my you can get in touch with me through my social media platforms, LinkedIn, Facebook, through my website as well. The links are shared below. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. So moving forward, what is colors, right? So colors are nothing but any colors that you see in the day, right? Red, green, blue, yellow, or any kind of colors that you see, right? That is nothing but the colors. But when it comes to select a particular color palette or maybe particular color scheme against a particular for a particular project that you are working on, right? Or you will be tasked to come up with a color scheme for any particular product or any web app, whatever, right? How are you going to do that? Okay, so there are no right or wrong process here. There, of course, like there are certain thumb rules which you can follow and that we will be discussing. But how to come up with the process that will actually help you, to get your show running. Okay, so there are at least like 6 steps that I follow uh, to come up with a color palette or to select basically a color scheme. Okay, first of all, to know this, what color scheme you should come up with. So you should also know like what is the project goals and the target audience, what kind of tone the project is trying to set, what kind of tone or what kind of vibe the client wants in their product. Is it professional? Is it happy? Is it joyful? Is it like some kind of sad, emotional, right? So you need to understand that branding tone, what kind of tone that your product needs to have, along with the target audience as well, for whom you are setting designing the product, right? Just for a real life example, if I have to give you, like, say for example, your product is something related to the medical industry, right? Healthcare. So maybe you're designing some hospitals app, right? If you use some kind of those fancy text or fancy typographies in your uh, that product, it is not going to look very good, right? At the same time, if you just think of a color scheme where everything is like very dark, it is very easy to it is very tough to understand, then again also it is a problem, right? So according to that only, you have to first of all understand the vibe of the product and the project goals, as I said, like what we are trying to build, for whom we are trying to build, what kind of tone we are trying to set in our product. So that is very crucial. That's number one. Second is, of course, conduct some research. So now, when you have to conduct research in this, like, you can try to understand the target audience. You can do some maybe user interviews. You can do competitive analysis, right? A lot of things is possible over here, so that you basically try to understand what other products are doing in that similar domain. Okay, that is number one. Second is like what kind of color schemes users also might like, right? So you can even do that. Third is, of course, like you can go to some design galleries like Behance, Dribble, then Uplabs, and try to see what even other designers are using. Because if you go to those kind of sites, you will get a lot of inspirations. Like maybe some designers that you will get there some kind of kits, some kind of screens as well, and you can see like what are the color schemes that they might have used, right? So according to that, also you can basically take the shape. Okay, basically you will now have some clear idea of what kind of color scheme you might need to have for your project. And but while doing this, it's not meant that you will only have, like, you might, or you will come up with only one single palette, and that will be selected, or that will be the end of it, right? You might come up with two or three different color palettes altogether, or the color schemes altogether, right? And then basically the next steps will happen, and that's where the next step is, which is nothing but the exploration, right? So in this stage, what you will do is you will try to utilize those colors, maybe the different shades, different tints of that color into multiple elements of your screens, right? Based on whatever tasks or whatever flow that you are designing, you can try to go and apply that on those color, on those elements as well. Or if you are having your marketing assets, right, like kind of your social media templates, business cards, it could be your other physical assets, like maybe your gifting products or maybe your letterheads. You can even go and try to do some explorations over there, because not necessarily that every time your app might be ready by this time, right? So that thing definitely you guys can do. Fourth is mood boards or stylescapes. So this is kind of gathering or coming into an alignment kind of stuff with your client, if you're doing a freelance project, or with your stakeholders if you're working in an organization, right? Like kind of vibe that you think that the color scheme should might go along with the product. So there you can create a kind of either a mood board or stylescape. Okay, either of them is possible, you can go and create that. So if you try to understand what is mood board, so mood board is nothing but where it contains a lot of inspirations from, including typographies, then color palettes, then maybe some imageries, right? A lot of things comes into the picture. Stylescapes is also the same similar stuff, but the way of representation, um the elements for getting the alignment, or for having the alignment, is something a little bit different. So you can just Google it, maybe what is mood board, what is stylescapes, and you guys can learn more about it. Fifth is definitely applying the color scheme now, right? So now we have done the exploration, we have got the alignment stuff and everything. Now probably it is time to apply this particular colors, right? Whatever color scheme that we have selected into our UI, or maybe into the product that you are designing. So, how to do this? For that, again, there is a very simple rule that I would like to share. Is known as 60, 30, and 10 rule. Okay, so 60% of your, take any screen, excuse me, take any screen that you are designing, and 60% of that particular screen will take your primary color. It could be any color: red, green, blue, yellow, orange, whatever, right? So 60% of that primary, 60% of your screen should have a primary color. 30% should have the secondary color, and remaining 10% can go with your tertiary colors. Okay, so now this is the simple rule that you can follow, okay, to apply the color scheme into your project. But the question is, like, how are you going to decide that 60% or 30% or 10%, right? Because it is not like we cannot measure the stuff. What is the 60, what is 60% out of how much, right? So that is one very common question that I often get. So For this also I have something for you guys. So how to select that 60%, or how to have your primary colors on your 60% of your screens that you've designed, right? So for that, first of all, you can consider the primary tasks, okay? The main tasks that your screen has. Maybe there you can apply your main color as it could be as a background, it could be on onto the text, it could be maybe in the buttons, right? It could be on the full width card as well. Okay, so you have to understand basically what are the important areas of your screen, basically in any particular screen, right? And according to that, you can apply your primary color. Secondary colors, again, you can apply it strategically to create visual interest and the balance with your primary color, because of course the secondary colors that you bring in will be anyways having in sync with your secondary colors. So you can apply it. Some of the areas where you can apply it is like maybe the background elements, cards, certain sections. Again, it depends like how, where and how you can add it. Okay, and the primary colors, definitely you can apply it on your primary buttons, CTS, etc. Okay, you can also incorporate your secondary colors into icons or illustrations where certain kind of graphical elements are there in your UI. You can even do that, and it can also be used to create certain shadows or gradients. There also you can apply your secondary colors. Okay, last but not the least is your tertiary colors. So that is something you have to again analyze and apply it thoughtfully so that they can complement with your primary and secondary colors. Okay, and it is also not like always you'll have to do that. You might only have primary and secondary colors, that is also fine. Okay, depends on the context, depends on the project. You'll have to actually see like what kind of color scheme you want to set, what kind of tone vibe you want to set for your product, and according to that you can basically like use primary, secondary, tertiary, or maybe only primary or maybe only secondary, right? Because every screens might not need all the different color combinations, right? And the purpose for this tertiary is to provide some kind of subtle essence and visual cues as well. And where you can also apply your tertiary colors is like maybe alerts or notifications, then data visualizations. When I say data visualizations, these are nothing but your graphs. Mostly this kind of like situations comes in the dashboards. If you're designing certain dashboards, you can apply over there. Even certain states of the elements, right? Like kind of your disable state, over state, right? So in those states, tertiary colors can mainly takes the place actually. Okay, and last but not the least is, of course, test and iterate. You might have to go through multiple iterations by testing your colors along with your final visuals with some real users along with the stakeholders. And finally, you will fix basically which color scheme that you want to go ahead with, right? So these are mainly the 6 steps, okay, that actually I follow. And if you are struggling to come up with a color palette, even you can do the same. Any questions before we move ahead? Anyone, any doubts?